ghosts are moving tonight, restless, hungry. May I introduce myself? I'm Watson Pritchard. In just a minute, I'll show you the only really haunted house in the world. Since it was built a century ago, 7 people, including my brother, have been murdered in it. Since then, I've owned the house. I've only spent 1 night there, and when they found me in the morning, I was almost dead.
Good evening. It's Friday night, and welcome to another episode of Killer Kitchen. Tonight we've been invited to a party. It's a party at the only real haunted house in the world. The man you just met, Walter Pritchard, was actually played by the late Elijah Cook Jr. He was often called Hollywood's lightest heavyweight because of his small stature, and he always played the best villains. He's played in roles such as Dick Tracy. He's played next to Humphrey Bogart, played in 12 Angry Men. I think he's been in at least 3 episodes of The Twilight Zone. He's going to be our guide through the house on Haunted Hill. So join me tonight, if you dare, in this special, thrilling edition of Killer Kitchen. Good evening, and welcome to another Killer Kitchen. Now tonight we've got something a little bit more special for you again this week. See, last week went so well, I figured what the hell? Let's go for a full length here. Let's really have some fun tonight. So, we got the house on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price, and I've decided to make the perfect party treats that I would bring if I were going to go to a supposedly haunted house at a party. So now, tonight we're going to make my party popcorn mix, which is just perfect little snack and shit while you're fucking playing games or goofing around. Or if you get lost in a haunted house, great thing to have in your pocket. Then we've got my bloody popcorn balls that I just have fun making because I love anything with blood. Then we've got my chocolate chip spider cookies, and my personal favorite on the list as far as cookies go, peanut butter monster cookies. These are just going to be a lot of fun to make, so stick around for that for sure. We're also going to make a pan of haunted ghostly brownies, and these here, the way I'm going to do them, you guys are going to dig this. Because yeah, I take the box shit, but I doctor mine up the way I showed you with that Friday the 13th cake a few weeks ago. So join me tonight as we join Mr. Frederick Lauren and his guests at the house on Haunted Hill. Now why don't we get this film rolling? You've already met Mr. Walter Pritchard. And when you come back, we'll be having everything set and ready, and we'll begin cooking. You know, one thing I do gotta say, this movie was actually directed by Rob White, or it was directed by William Castle. It was written by Rob White. And it's an interesting detail, it's kind of a creepy detail, is William Castle, who directed the movie, died within 1 month of its release. Like, they talk about Poltergeist has their shit, and Exorcist has their shit. Nobody ever talks about this movie like it because it's so B-rated and you can see the strings. I get it. I love the cheese, and I love the old 50s and 60s B-rated flicks. I don't care what anybody says. But it's an interesting fact that The House on Haunted Hill took its first victim 1 month after its release.
I'm Frederick Lauren, and I've rented the house on Haunted Hill tonight so that my wife can give a party. A haunted house party. She's so amusing. There'll be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited. If any of you will spend the next 12 hours in this house, I'll give you each $10,000, or your next of kin in case you don't survive. Ah, but here come our other guests. It was my wife's idea to have our guests come in funeral cars. She's so amusing. Her sense of humor is, shall we say, original. I dreamed up the hearse. It's empty now, but after a night in the house on Haunted Hill, who knows? This is Lance Schroeder, a test pilot, so no doubt a brave man. But don't you think you can be much braver if you're paid for it? And I happen to know that Lance needs the $10,000 I'll give him, if he's brave enough to stay all night. This is Ruth Bridges. You've no doubt read her column in the newspapers. She says her reason for coming to the party is to write a feature article on ghosts. She's also desperate for money. Gambles. You've already met Watson Pritchard, a man living in mortal fear of a house, and yet he is risking his life to spend another night here. I wonder why. He says for money. This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. He claims that my ghost will help his work on hysteria. But don't you see a little touch of greed there, around the mouth and eyes? This is Nora Manning. I picked her from the thousands of people who work for me because she needed the $10,000 more than most. Supports her whole family. Isn't she pretty? The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill.
Well, where is everybody?
It isn't a very warm welcome, is it?
Only the ghosts in this house are glad we're here.
Are we all strangers to each other? Don't you two know each other?
I'm afraid I don't even know your name.
I'm Nora Manning.
Lance Schroeder.
Is Frederick Lauren a friend of yours?
I've heard of him, but I've never met him.
I work for one of his companies, but I've never seen him.
I've never met the man either. Just a phone call. Do you know him?
No,
Well, then you're the only one of us who does.
I don't know him. All the details about renting the house were done by mail.
He's quite wealthy, isn't he?
Millions.
And 5 wives, I believe.
4, I think, so far.
A $50,000 party for only 5 people is a little steep, even for a millionaire.
Well, if I were going to haunt anybody, this would certainly be the house I'd do it in.
Who closed the door?
This thing's made of solid steel.
Annabelle. Our guests are here, unfortunately still alive. Is your face on yet?
Dust and dirt everywhere, and the water barely trickles. Couldn't you have had the place cleaned?
Atmosphere, darling. You know how ghosts are. They never tidy up. And that's a very fetching outfit, but hardly suitable for a party.
I'm not going to the party.
The spend-the-night ghost party was your idea, remember? Since it's going to cost me $50,000, I want you to have fun.
The party was my idea until you invited all the guests. Why all these strangers? Why none of our friends?
Friends? Do we have any friends?
No, your jealousy took care of that.
I had a reason for inviting each guest. I wanted kind of a cross-section. From psychiatrist to typist, and from drunk to jet pilot. They share one thing. They all need money. Now let's see if they're brave enough to earn it.
And you call this a party?
Could be.
Why do you always do that? It spoils the champagne.
It might explode.
Never does.
Will you guarantee that?
That isn't funny, Frederick.
Make a good headline. Playboy kills wife with champagne cork. Will you join me?
No, thank you.
Just a sip might improve your humor.
My humor is fine, thanks. And I haven't poisoned it.
It's always good to know that. Have some. You'll enjoy the party more. Go on.
Your trust is so touching. And I'm not going to the party.
Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
But still alive.
Would you go away for $1 million tax-free? You want it all, don't you?
I deserve it all. Your jealousy isn't tax-free. And your possessiveness is maddening.
If ever a man had grounds for divorce,
But can't prove them.
the time will come. You'll slip up one of these days,
Think so?
if I live long enough. You remember the fun we had when you poisoned me?
Something you ate, the doctor said.
Yes, arsenic on the rocks. Annabelle, you'd do it again if you thought you could get away with it, wouldn't you?
Darling, what makes you think that?
Something about you. I hear that hanging is very uncomfortable, in case you get any more ideas. Now, don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Darling, The only ghoul in the house is you.
And don't sit up all night thinking of ways to get rid of me. It makes wrinkles.
Megan, no! Megan! Megan! Megan, no! Jason! Jason! Jason, come on! Come and get me! It's me you won't remember! That's it. Come on, maggot head. Come on. Come on, maggot head. That's it. Come on.
We're going to start tonight off with something very simple, very easy, that I think even you young kids at home could do if you want it. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to make my version of the popcorn party mix. Everybody talk about Chex Mix, this and that. Y'all remember the old Snoopy commercial. Whatever. That shit's boring. And even when I got that shit, I used to doctor the hell out of that too. So, got your base. Bowl of popcorn. Now, let's see here. Cut. Okay, see? This is what we've got here. To start, again, got your base, your popcorn. Here, a little bit of broken up, crunched down granola. Some peanuts. Only threw about 4 of these in here because I personally don't dig them. And my wife ate the rest. Then we've got some dried up cranberries. My favorite, Sixlets. Everybody else, they use M&Ms. M&Ms is boring. Besides, I got the M&Ms for something else later this evening. I usually take about 6 or 8 packages of Sixlets because I like my candy mixed in with my dried up fruit. Hell with it. I can't be that healthy. Come on now. What am I, Arnold Schwarzenegger? So you get these in here like this. Now what I've got is, this is a cereal my wife enjoys, and it's got little dried up blueberries like the cranberries, so it's a perfect counter mix to the rest of what I just added. Then I'm going to take this here, and you kids at home, I'm sure you recognize this from your Saturday mornings, drinking your juice, having your bowl of cereal, watching your Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or whatever kids watch today. I don't know, my generation was He-Man. Then you take, cover it like that. Now, these Tupperwares suck. But, like that. Now, you want to take that mixture. I guess, if I could. I kind of try to do it more of a round roller, almost like a paint mixer in a way. Yeah, here we go. God, that actually looks really fucking good. You guys gotta check this out. Now, if you look and you see how I did that, you got your candy in there. Yeah, spill the popcorn. Popcorn, all of it. Now, one thing I like to do is because popcorn itself, Just a little bit, because you got all that other shit in there. Dude, adding salt, you got to be really, really careful here. Just a light right across the top. Throw that lid back on. Just like that. You don't need a lot. It's just enough to fucking flavor up that popcorn a little bit. Now, if you really want to slide them on, get one of these here. This is the special, this one's the white cheddar. It's the popcorn salts. Hell with it. What the hell, right? It's a party. Let's fucking party. Again, just real light, because I have no idea what this is going to do with the candy and the other shit. Definitely going to make the two cereals taste different. There you go. Now, let's taste it. That's good fit. That's good fit. Baby, you gotta try this. That's good fit. Alright, we're gonna get back to the movie here. And, man, it's funny. You guys all saw the house. And the exterior of the house. The house is actually named the Enos House. And it's located in Los Feliz, California. It was designed in 1924 by Frank Lloyd Wright, who actually, again, directed, excuse me, excuse me, that popcorn got a little stuck there. But the house was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and Vincent Price actually took this role after a chance encounter with the director, who also doubled as sort of a Hollywood, sort of like, he was big with gimmicks. In fact, they developed a gimmick for this movie too. He was the one behind the gimmick for the Tingler, where they kind of made the seats feel weird and made you have to scream in the theater. I don't know how many of you guys remember that. Check it out. It's up on YouTube. It's up on fucking Google. You guys should check that out. Well, the same guy who did that, okay, William Castle, who directed the film. Now, he was actually close friends with Frank Lloyd Wright. So when the two of them, they got together and they started working together, this had come up, and Vincent Price was like, they weren't even talking about him for the role. It was a chance meeting in the street, a lunch date later, and there you go. Another one piled on for one of the greatest horror icons of our time. But you've got to think, Vincent Price, this is a guy, he did the overtracking for Michael Jackson's Thriller. He was in Pit and the Pendulum. He did that show back in the 1977, I think it was, An Evening with Edgar Allan Poe. I tell you something, I take nothing from James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones is a master, and that voice, nobody can master that. But when Vincent Price read The Telltale Heart, he went above and beyond, and then blowing it right in the end of The Telltale Heart, they bled it right into The Raven. And hearing Vincent Price do Telltale Heart bleeding into The Raven like that, and hearing Vincent Price read The Raven, James Earl Jones is a master, definitely did it justice, but nobody did it like Vincent Price. This man, he overtoned on voice on Alice Cooper's 1972 album, The Black Widow. He did this whole spiel about the Black Widow spider and other spiders. Vincent Price is an absolute master. And then Mrs. Lauren, his wife, played by Carol Olmart, Annabelle. She was a big-time radio singer back at the time. She was Mrs. Utah. She was fourth runner-up in the Miss USA pageant in 1967. Or 1946, 1967. She was in a movie called Spider Baby. Like, you're talking two greats there. So what you just saw on screen, when you get two masters together, two absolute masters of their art, and put them in the same room, it's nothing but dynamite. What you saw there, you will never see in a film made past 1985. All right, that's enough from me. We're going to get back to the show. And when we come back from the movie on our next break, we are going to be making popcorn balls. Now, I got to wash this bowl. We got to make some popcorn. So in the time it takes me to do that, let's find out what's happening at the house on Haunted Hill.
This is what she used on my brother and her sister. Hacked them to pieces. We found parts of the bodies all over the house, in places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that. But no heads.
The wife, probably in a rage, threatened her husband with a knife and then, carried away by hysteria, took a swing at him and simply went on from there.
Well, she certainly went on. How many people did she kill, Mr. Pritchard?
Only two. Her husband and her sister. No one else was here.
So there are two loose heads just floating around in here somewhere?
You can hear them at night. They whisper to each other and then cry.
Since our host isn't here, would anyone care to mix me a drink?
Certainly. What will you have?
Good evening. I'm your host, Frederick Lauren. Since we're all strangers to each other, let's get acquainted with a drink, shall we?
Mr. Lauren, I advise you to call this party off now. The ghosts are already moving, and that's a bad sign.
Let me apologize for my wife. She'll join us later. What do you have?
Scotch and.
Doctor?
I'll have the same.
Now, before the party begins, let's go over the details. The caretakers will leave at midnight, locking us in here until they come back in the morning. Once the door is locked, there's no way out. The windows have bars that a jail would be proud of, and the only door to the outside locks like a vault. There's no electricity, no phone, no one within miles, so no way to call for help.
Like a coffin.
So if any of you decide not to stay for the party, you must let me know before midnight. Of course, if you leave, I shan't be able to pay you anything.
I'm interested in your reasons for this, party. Aside from the pleasant company.
Ghosts, Doctor. I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost. And now my wife has given us all the opportunity to find out.
Amusing. Ghosts, etc., being only creations of hysteria, your party should be a success.
Well, Pritchard here promises us genuine ghosts.
7 now. Maybe more before morning.
That's cheerful.
4 men have been murdered in this house. And 3 women.
You planned your party very well, Mr. Lauren. 4 of us are men, 3 are women. Well, a ghost for everybody.
Well, Pritchard, why don't you take us on a tour through the house and let's see what happens, huh?
See that stain? Blood. A young girl was killed here. And whatever got her wasn't human. Don't stand there.
What do you mean? Where?
It's too late. They've marked you.
Ridiculous. The roof probably leaks.
Oh, that must be what it is. Who would want to haunt me?
I would say any self-respecting male ghost.
I hope it doesn't come back.
Well, Mr. Pritchard, you're the life of the party.
He hasn't even started yet. Wasn't there a man who threw his wife into a wine vat or something?
That was in the cellar. There's been a murder almost every place in this house. Mr. Norton, who didn't die here. He was electrocuted later. Mr. Norton did a good deal of experimenting with wines, but his wife didn't think it was any good. So he filled the vat with acid and threw her in. She was supposed to stay down, but the bones came up. It's a funny thing, but none of the murders here were just ordinary. Just shooting or stabbing. They've all been sort of wild, violent, and different.
Look out!
God, she didn't fall in.
You mean there's still acid in there?
Destroys everything with hair and flesh. Just leaves the bones. My, it's dry and dusty down here.
Well, there's a cure for that upstairs. Come on.
How'd you get invited to this party? No. No, go on. I mean, what'd he tell you?
Mr. Lawrence said everybody'd get $10,000.
But he didn't say anything about being locked in.
No.
He just made the deal with me on the phone, but nothing about having to stay.
Aren't you going to stay?
If I don't, I lose $10,000.
I'm going to stay, too. $10,000.
Yeah. You believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Well, I agree with what that doc says. You can spook yourself. I've done it in planes. Seen things that weren't really there. Or were they? What are you going to do with your $10,000? If we get it.
What do you mean, if we get it? Won't he pay us if we stay?
Ah, sure he will. 10,000 is no more to him than a nickel is to us.
We were in an automobile accident. Now I'm the only one in the family who can make any money.
Boy, I've never seen so many doors. Closet? Bottles.
Does it go anywhere? Lance! Lance!
See what I mean?
Please, come on.
Did she say Lance is gone? Gone where?
Nothing that money won't cure. I must have bumped my head.
And the only way you could bump your head in here is to run head on into the wall. You didn't do that, did you? Let's get a bandage on that.
I wonder why they didn't kill him.
Who?
He didn't bump his head. They hit him.
They?
Nora, when you came in, you said something about a ghost.
There was something.
What did it look like?
Well, it was wearing a black thing that went all the way to the floor.
Weren't you a little frightened at the time?
Well, yes.
That, Mr. Loren, is hysteria.
Well, then, Doctor, how do you explain what happened to Lance? Was that hysteria, too?
You better get that checked in a day or so.
Thanks, Doc. Wait for me in the hall.
The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Loren.
You really believe in your pet ghost, don't you, Pritchard?
Before the night's over, you will, too.
Would you like a drink, Lance?
No, thanks.
I'd like one. Scotch and. Mr. Loren, are you really going to pay anyone who stays all night?
Certainly. $10,000.
Will there be much red tape or delay?
You in a hurry, dear?
Frankly, yes. Or frantically.
There you are, my dear.
Someone or something was in here when I came in. But where? And if the door was locked, how did it get out? What you saw might have been a ghost, Nora, but what was in here with me was no ghost.
I don't know. I was so scared.
Does it sound different to you?
Yes.
Three, 6, 9, 12. 12 feet. Three, 6. Now, I'm going to knock on the other wall. When you hear me, you knock on this wall. Tap lower down. Where'd it come from?
From in here.
What if it ran out of here? I'd have seen it.
Lance, it doesn't run. It just floats.
Yeah, but why didn't I see it?
You don't believe me.
Well, how can I?
I'm Annabelle Lauren. You must be Miss Manning. I realize this is a very unusual and I'm afraid very dull party. Wouldn't you like to freshen up? This is your room. Depressing, isn't it?
I doubt if I'll spend much time here.
It's going to rain. Perfect atmosphere for my husband's party. Why did you come here?
He said he'd give me $10,000.
Why did he pick you?
I don't know. My supervisor just came and said I'd been invited.
How long have you known my husband?
I just met him tonight.
So? Why you? What were you doing wandering around by yourself?
Well, I was in the cellar with Lance, Mr. Schroeder, and I just left, that's all.
Don't do it again. Don't go anywhere in this house by yourself. Now fix your face and I'll come by for you in a few minutes.
But
You're in danger. We all are.
But who?
I hope for your sake you never find out.
Oh, my God.
Back out, Kristen! Do it now!
What do you mean? Where?
It's too late. They've marked you.
Ridiculous. The roof probably leaks.
Oh, that must be what it is. Who would want to haunt me?
I would say any self-respecting male ghost.
Damn, Mr. Lawrence still getting it on. Guy's not satisfied with one woman wanting to kill him. Now he's looking to piss off another one. Yeah, leave it to them rich people, you know? Anyway, we are melting some butter down, and we are going to melt in some little bitty marshmallow deals here. And what I've done is I've added some yellow food coloring, both to the melting butter and to the marshmallows. Now the thing is, you want to make sure that you don't have it on a high heat, because at a high heat, you're going to burn your marshmallow. Now, get that in. You want to start putting these in, and make sure that you always have them in motion. Do not stop stirring, no matter what. And like this. You know, it's funny. Ruth Bridges, who's actually played by Judith Mitchum, and she's actually Robert Mitchum's sister. She kept looking so familiar to me, and I just couldn't place it the whole movie. And it finally hit me while we were watching it right now that she was actually a co-star in the Ten Commandments back, I think, I want to say 1965, 63. Really good movie if you're into any of the biblical shit. I enjoy it because I enjoy the tales. Whether or not anybody believes or not, that's your own personal deal. Just a good movie. The stories themselves are actually kind of fun. For the most part. But, yeah, she did this role, and it was actually her last real role that she played in at all. as far as horror or anything that was like big. She did the 10 Commandments and then just sort of dropped out of sight. I guess she decided she was done with the Hollywood scene. So, in the meantime, why don't we get back to the movie here? And by the time you guys come back, I'll have these sticky fucking things out of this package. I'll have this all melted down. And I will show you guys how to make Halloween bloody popcorn balls.
I'm Annabelle Lauren. Were you looking for something?
Not exactly.
Are you the doctor?
No, I'm Lance Schroeder.
The pilot. You've hurt yourself.
Oh, it's just a bump on the head. Which is my room?
I believe this is it.
Thank you, Mrs. Lauren.
Annabelle Lance. You were with the young girl in the cellar. Why was she so upset?
Was she?
And you don't look like the type to go around bumping his head. What really happened, Lance?
Well, Nora thought she saw a ghost, but I didn't see anything.
She was just frightened then.
And mad at me, I think. I kidded her about it.
I wouldn't joke about anything else that happens here tonight.
Now, don't tell me you're taking all this seriously.
Aren't you?
Well, I'd like to find out what hit me.
Lance. If I need help, may I count on you?
Yeah, sure, I guess so. Look, what's going on here anyway? I mean, what is with this party bit?
This is no party. He's planning something.
Your husband?
I wish I knew what it was.
Must be pretty big if he's going to lay out 50,000.
The money doesn't mean anything. He has a reason for getting us all up here to this dreadful old house.
Well, what for? He doesn't even know us.
Maybe that's exactly why you're here.
Well, what can he get away with?
Oh, he thinks that big money like his can get away with anything. You know, of course, that I'm his fourth wife. The first simply disappeared. The other two died. Lance, I don't want to join them.
You mean he,
Oh, his doctor said they died of heart attacks. 2 girls in their 20s.
Well, what can he do?
My husband is sometimes insane with jealousy. Nothing matters to him then. Please be careful.
Would he hurt you?
He would kill me if he could.
Annabelle, you're missing all the fun. Nora Manning was almost killed by a falling chandelier. The pilot bashed his head in.
Is he badly hurt?
The Saturnine psychiatrist bandaged him up. Don't you want to go and console him, as you do most men, in your fashion?
You're so clever, Frederick.
Yes, I lie awake nights wondering why I married you. It was rather a mistake.
You didn't marry me, dear. I married you. Unpleasant, but no mistake.
Hurry up.
Frederick, for the last time, I'm not going to your party.
And for the last time, it's not my party, but yours. And you are going.
I am not.
You ready, dear?
No.
Are you ready, dear?
Yes, damn you.
Would you adore me as much if I were poor? No. All you want to be is a lovely widow. It's almost time to lock up the house. And then your party will really begin. I wonder how it'll end. to midnight, Lance.
Okay. I'll be down in a minute.
Who is it?
Your host, my dear. It's almost midnight, Nora. We're all going to get together down in the living room.
All right, Mr. Lloyd. I'll be right down.
Come with us. Come with us before he kills you.
Where's Nora? Miss Manning.
Well, looks like Nora got herself in something there, huh? I'm sure glad that it's not me spending the night in that house. Or are we? Are you sure that's you sitting there in your couch? Or is your couch really just something that the ghost made up for you? Anyway, we're going to make these popcorn balls. Now, because we're dealing with something extremely sticky here, I like to take and just rub some flour into my hands, just so I kind of decrease the sticky matter as much as possible. We've got this all melted down, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we're going to put some popcorn down on here, like that. And we're going to take, bad idea, fuck that. Dump it in there like that. Kind of like this. And we're gonna just take that popcorn, add a little bit more. If you look, let me see if I can get it for you here. Now, this is just a messy thing, so you know, parents, if you're going to help your kids with this, I wouldn't bother unless you know you're looking to clean up a mess tonight. Because when this camera goes off, I get to spend 20 minutes cleaning this mess up. And that's the other, on top of the other mess from the other stuff we're making. Now we're going to take this, just dump it down on the counter like this. Because now we've got to mold the shit. Down like this. I'll be honest, guys, I've never made popcorn balls before. This is number one for me. That's fucking hot. Shit. Okay. Next time, let these things cool before you attempt to grab them. You ain't gonna mold shit. That's fucking hot. Looks like Nora's having a bad night tonight, huh, guys?
I don't want to stay here.
Nora, what happened? That's Jonas Slides and his wife. They've been caretakers here for years. She's blind, you know.
I'm not going to stay here.
Well, Doctor, it looks like we have a real case of hysteria on our hands.
I think she's just a little upset, not hysterical.
Good evening.
Hello, my dear. This is my wife. These are our guests. Ruth Bridges, Dr. Trent. You know Watson Pritchard, of course. Nora Manning, and this is Lance Schroeder.
Get me out of here.
Now, what about the 10,000?
I don't care. He wants to kill me.
Who wants to kill you?
Mr. Lawrence.
May I have your attention, please? I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying all night. $10,000 apiece. If any of you don't survive, $50,000 will be divided amongst the rest of you. If I should die, you will be paid by my estate. When the door is locked from the outside by the caretakers, we'll all be forced to stay in this house until morning. If any of you decide not to stay, you must leave with the caretakers now. You won't have a chance to change your minds later, because there'll be no way to get out.
I don't want to stay.
Wait.
It isn't midnight yet. Who told them they could leave?
They never leave before midnight.
Well, they've gone now. I was going to ask you whether you wanted to stay or not, but it seems that the caretakers have made the decision for you. We're all locked in now.
But I don't want to stay.
And I'm sorry, my dear, but it's too late now.
Darling, haven't you had enough of the silly game? Get some cars up here for these people and let them go home. But pay them first.
This is your party, remember? In spite of my wife's faith in my ability to do the impossible, we will all have to stay in this house until 8 o'clock in the morning. But we have some party favors for you in these little coffins. This is my wife's idea. And I must say, I think it's rather dangerous. I suppose you all know how to use one of these things, but in case you don't, you just press down on this lever with your thumb and then pull the trigger. You see, they're loaded.
These are no good against the dead, only the living.
Doctor? Lance? Nora?
Go ahead, take it.
Miss Bridges? And here's yours, dear.
I don't need it.
It was your idea. Who knows, you may want to use it on me before this night is over.
Throw these guns away. They won't do you any good.
I agree with Pritchard on that point, although not for the same reason.
Dr. Trent, don't you approve of our little party favors?
Suppose Nora had had a gun when she mistook the blind woman for a ghost.
I don't think anyone else is going to walk around in total darkness.
Oh, I'm sure we're not going to go running around the house shooting each other, aren't you?
Who knows? Fear makes people do amazing things.
Mr. Pritchard, you said your sister-in-law killed a man and a woman here and cut them up? You said they found hands and feet, but they never found any heads. Would you like to see one of those heads? Would you all like to see one of those heads? Well then, just follow me.
Darling, I really don't need this.
Just go look in my suitcase. Just go look. But it was in there. A woman's head.
Nora, I think you're a little upset. Would you care for a sedative?
Get out! Get out, all of you! All of you, get out of here and leave me alone! Just get out of here!
You think it's all right to leave her by herself, Doctor?
I wish she'd taken the sedative.
Well, what do you suppose she thought she saw?
They're closing in on her.
Look, Doc, I think somebody ought to stay with her.
There could be 1,000,000 people around her. But if they wanted her, they'd get her.
What if he's right?
He's too drunk to know what he's talking about.
I wonder. I'll join you in a minute.
Do you think it would do any good if you went in and talked to her?
Well, do you think there really was a head in her suitcase?
I don't know.
A thing like that would put me right over the edge.
Look, would you sort of stay up here, I mean, in case she needs help?
All right. I'll be in my room. Just call it.
Thanks.
Are you sure there are only 7 people in this house?
Positive, except for the ghosts.
I don't believe in ghosts, nor in frightening women. In Nora's case, it's gone far enough. Perhaps too far.
What do you suggest we do about it, Doctor?
Don't frighten her anymore.
Nora? 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 Nora! Nora!
Well, it looks like we know that she's not lying. Lance knows now. Is it just me, or does it seem like Lance got himself a little bit of a crush? And you know, sorry, Lance, but we all knows what happens to people when they get them crushes in these types of movies. One thing you got working for you, it's 1958, and it's not 1988. Yeah, it's funny, too. You know, Lance, who's played by Richard Long, has been in so many great films. And I mean, we lost him way too early. And I mean, he was in one of my favorite episodes of The Twilight Zone. What was that one? Hold on. No, don't do that. You're supposed to come over here. He was in this one. It was Person or Persons Unknown, where he like lost his complete identity. Everybody thought he was nuts. It was a really crazy episode. I can't really talk too much about it or I'll get in trouble again. That was, what was that, season 3? Season 2, I think? So now you'll notice what I'm doing. Originally I said we were going to make bloody popcorn balls, and I just couldn't get the right coloring for the blood. But when I was applying it, I'd kind of made a few mistakes on the first one here, and then I realized that this does look great for hair. And being pinkish like it is, and the deep pink that it is, it's the perfect color for monster hair. Now really, what you can do is you could do this all different colors. I didn't have exactly enough frosting to do a bunch of different colors for different balls tonight. So they're all going to kind of have this color. But what you can do, if you watch one of my early episodes, you'll see how to make your own colored frosting. It's very easy. But what I'm doing is I'm taking and spreading it around there on there like that. And then I bought these eyes. Edible eyes. They're like little candies. And I'm just putting them on here like this. Ah, he's going down. And then what I do, after I wipe my hand a little bit, take and then I put a 6-lit right in this little hole here. Because with my popcorn balls, they all seem to have this like little hole as I put them together. I guess I didn't do so good at this. But what I'm doing is I decided instead of bloody popcorn balls, bloody monster balls. Bloody monster popcorn balls. But yeah, Richard Long was also known for his roles in Big Valley. That aired from 65 to 69. I mean, and Big Valley was actually a cool Western. I'm not even into Westerns, and that show was cool. I remember spending a lot of weekends watching reruns of that on, I think, Nick at Night and shit. Now, here, I'm going to pull this up. Get my hands a little bit of a wash. And then now, here, if you look, we've got 3 little monster popcorn balls. Little eye, little candy in his mouth, full of hair. And there you go. Now here's what I'm going to do. I got just one more of these. And I'm going to do this one a little different because I ran out of sprinkles, okay? Which is kind of a drag. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this one up. Uh-oh. Put that one aside for a minute. We'll open this one up instead. This is a better one anyway. That one's kind of a dud. Whoa. Now, see, the thing about this is, when you wrap these, they're sticky as hell. And if you don't get them opened up in time, paper gets stuck and it rips your ball apart like you're seeing happen here. But do not fret. Do not fret, my friends, because there is always a solution to every problem. Just mold it back up like that. And see, like I said, always a solution to every problem. Well, I had a slight problem tonight and I ran out of sprinkles. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't exactly go buy new ones. Not unless you guys know of an all-night market in LA. But I do have a solution to that. See, instead of sprinkles, I got the sprinkles in there. Well, this one I figured, let's make this one extra scary and actually have an extra treat. So, I took the Oreo package I have here. I ate all the white frosting, because damn it, that's just good. And I saved the cookie parts. See, one thing with Oreos is if you're really careful, if you break the Oreo in just the right way, you can get that frosting off of the cookie without, you know, doing the whole thing that kids did back in the day. You know, very easy. In fact, the way they do the cream filling now, they don't do it like they used to do back in the old days. It's not even the same cream, I don't think, you know. That's like with everything today, though. It's all been kind of choppy and just nothing's the same. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old. But yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna roll this one through some cookies, and then it's got sprinkles in there. And this one is gonna be an even scarier looking monster. There. That's a bad camera angle here. Now, come through. And what you want to do is kind of dab it on there and then smear it. And keep in mind, I mean, you're really just putting a hair piece on a puppet, for lack of a better way to put that. Really wish I could do the Puppet Master. I wish I was allowed to show you guys that movie, but maybe one time I can get away with a small discussion, some still shots. Love to get into that one. For maybe a shorter episode, we can talk about that. Because Puppet Master is an excellent film, and it's so just relevant in so many ways. It really did make a statement that I think a lot of people missed. But yeah, there we go, just like this. Yes. Ouch. And there we go. 4 little monsters waiting for a home. Now, let's get back to the movie. And on our next break, we will start our chocolate chip spider cookies. And maybe we might even have enough time left before the end of the movie where we can make at least those peanut butter monster cookies. All right, you guys, let's do it. Roll them. Hey, what's the difference between Sharon Stone and Marv Albert? Marv Albert wears panties.
What do you know about this?
They've taken her. In a little while, she'll be one of them.
Where's Norton?
Where is she? It's too late. It's too late. You'll never find her again.
Pritchard, if you know where she is, you better tell me now.
She's gone. She's gone with them. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Lay her down.
Nora?
She's dead, Mr. Lauren. Your wife hanged herself.
Suicide.
Please, hide me.
What's the matter?
Hide me. He tried to kill me. He grabbed me and choked me and put me in that room. And then he went away and left me.
Who?
He thought I was dead.
Who?
Mr. Lord.
Are you sure about this?
I don't know. It was dark, but it must have been him.
Has anybody seen you since he left you?
I heard some people in that room, but I went by and nobody saw me.
Mrs. Lauren is dead.
But how?
Lauren said she committed suicide, but I think somebody killed her.
Him.
I'm sure you've come to the same conclusion I have.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's all have a meeting, discuss what to do. The living room?
Okay, in a minute. I've got to go downstairs. Now, you lock yourself in here and don't let anybody know you're here. If he thinks you're dead, he won't come here. And I'll get back as soon as I can. You'll be all right. And if you have to, you use it. So beautiful. So greedy. So cold. What are you doing in here?
Wait. Don't wait.
What do you mean coming in here?
I didn't want them to take her away.
You're drunk.
They will if you don't watch her.
You're drunk. All right, out with it, Bridget. Why did you come into this room?
I'm the only one who understands.
Understands what?
Your wife isn't there anymore. She's already joined them.
Look, Bridget, I've had enough of your spook talk. Get out, you sot, and don't come back into this room again.
Where's what's her name? Nora.
I didn't disturb her since I don't think this concerns her.
No, you're right.
Mr. Loren, isn't there some way we can get out of this house now?
No, none at all.
We could try breaking out.
The only door to the outside is made of steel. The bars of the windows are set in solid stone. We gotta stay.
I'm not afraid of your ghosts, Pritchard. But I am afraid. When we came here a few hours ago, the only thing we had in common was the $10,000 we'd get. Now, however, we share something else. The death of Mrs. Loren. So far tonight, one of us was almost killed by a falling chandelier. One of us was mysteriously slugged. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute hysteria. And one of us is dead. Were these accidents? Suicide? And we must stay here for 6 more hours.
6 hours? 6 of us. Time enough.
Who'll be next? How will it happen?
Let me ask you a question, Doctor. You were the first one to see my wife there. Did you also see anything that she could have climbed up on and then jumped?
No.
Did any of you? There was nothing. How then did she get up there so high?
Exactly, Mr. Loren. How? She couldn't have pulled herself up there. She couldn't have dropped from the ceiling. Do you think your wife killed herself?
No. She was murdered by one of you.
Or you, Mr. Loren. To deliberately kill someone, you must have a reason.
We were all strangers to your wife. Only you had a motive for murder.
What husband hasn't at some time wanted to kill his wife? What husband hasn't had 1,000 opportunities to do it in such a way so that he'd never be suspected? I'm not such a fool as to hang my wife from a ceiling by a rope.
The fact remains that you, or one of us, murdered Mrs. Loren. And that's a matter for the police.
So how do we get the police?
That's my point. We can't until morning. What began as a silly party given by an eccentric has now involved us all in murder.
For once, Pritchard may be right. If another murder's in the works, let's stop it now.
Another murder.
Why not? Maybe one of us saw too much.
Why should even a millionaire want to give each of us $10,000 to spend one night in a gloomy old house? To see some ghosts, have a party? No.
Have you finished trying me, Doctor? And is the verdict guilty of murder?
Oh, this isn't getting us anywhere. Somebody killed Mrs. Loren. We know that. One of us is guilty and the rest of us are innocent. Okay. Now, what we have to do for the next 6 hours is protect ourselves from each other.
Do you really think?
I don't think anything. I just know that I'm going to my room. And if anybody comes in, I'll shoot him. Or her.
And if we all stay in our rooms, we'll be safe. Because the innocent will have no reason to leave his room. And the guilty will admit his guilt if he or she does.
And we all have guns.
And we're all agreed?
Oh, I wish this night were over.
Rooms? Guns? I tell you, it doesn't make any difference. They aren't through with us yet. What's the use of saying goodnight?
Good night.
Good night, Doctor.
Nora, it's me, Lance. You okay? They've all gone to their rooms and locked themselves in.
Lance, I've been thinking. It was so dark down there. Maybe it wasn't Mr. Lorne.
It was him, all right. He tried to kill you, and he did kill his wife.
How can you be so sure?
She tried to warn me, asked me to help her. The doc thinks he's going to try and kill one of us. Now, there must be a way out of this place, and I'm going to find it and get the police before he does.
I'm going with you.
What if he finds out you're alive? No, Nora. You're safer here than any place else. Now, just lock yourself in and keep quiet. If I find a way out, I'll come back and get you.
Yes, this is a really good idea. We're going to give a house full of people that are locked in, scared to death, a loaded gun. Something tells me that this is going to end really, really bad. And you know, as far as this psychiatrist goes, I love how he pushes off the third degree. You did it, you did it, you did it. It's his bright idea. Everybody fucking, you know, if you're innocent, stay in your room, you got nothing to worry about. Yet he's the first one out of his room. And then lover boy Lance is out here fucking trying to run to Nora's room. I don't know about you guys, but if this was a Friday the 13th film, that whole house would long since been dead. And I think that's what they were going for in that remake back in 1999. And I gotta say, I've seen a lot of remakes. I hate remakes. That is the first remake I actually found that I enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. Every character they got matched its character in the movie. Even the black dude matched his counterpart from the 1959 version. Great film. I really enjoyed it. And I loved how they made Frederick Lauren the owner of some big amusement park instead of just some rich, philanthropist. Really cool idea. That is one, if you guys ever see it, I can never air it because I totally get nailed with fucking copyright. If you ever get the chance, check it out. In fact, it is on Amazon Prime, and it's only like $2.99 to rent. Definitely a watch if you like this movie. Now, me personally, much as I like it, you can keep your remake, you can keep your refake. I like Vincent Price, I like 1959. It's kind of like Freddy Krueger. You can keep your Jackie Earl Haley. You can keep your fucking toaster face. I like the pizza face, and I like Robert Englund. Now, in our last break, I said we were going to try and make 2 more things of cookies. Unfortunately, because we're coming to the end of the film, we are basically out of time. We have enough time, about 1 more batch of cookies. So in our last bake, I took the liberties. I started kind of mixing things up. Now, everybody's got their own way of making cookies. Everybody's got their own way of doing things. So I don't want to really give you my recipe because I'm sure everybody's got their own recipe. I mean, there's so many. There's thousands, hundreds of fucking recipes for homemade chocolate chip cookies. And I'm sorry, but unless grandma makes them, they just don't taste the same. I'm using my grandmother's recipe, and I still can't make them as good as she did. I love them. They taste great. But the way my grandma did it, you can't beat that. That's just something that, it's kind of like apple pie. An apple pie is an apple pie, but a homemade apple pie, nothing going to beat that flavor, nothing going to beat that taste. Kind of the same thing here. So while I mix this up and get this ready in the oven here, I think we should get back to the movie and see where this is going, because I really got to see what the hell's going to happen when you got a house full of people that are scared to death and everybody's got a loaded fucking gun. This is just a little too good to let by. So let's get back to the movie here. I'm going to finish mixing this up, and I'll see you at the next break. Hey, I ever tell you guys about the blonde, the brunette, the redhead that all work the same place? So they all work the same place, and they all work for this woman. Same, all-woman team. Kind of like that Designing Women show back in the 90s and the 80s. Anyway, they notice every day boss is leaving early. All the time. So they're sitting there at lunch one day, and they're like, okay, wait a minute. She's leaving. She never calls. She never comes back. She's never going to know. Maybe we'll leave too. How's she going to know? So that night, boss takes off, gets out of there. Group waits about 5-10 minutes. They take off themselves. Now, the brunette, she's just happy to be off work early. She goes home, makes herself a pot of tea, turns on the telly. She's groovy. She's feeling it. The redhead, she's excited. She's stoked, man. She got a couple hours off early. She's going to go hit the gym. Now, the blonde, she's just happy to be off. She goes home. She comes in. She's like looking forward to spend some time with her husband. She closes the door. She starts going back towards the bedroom, and she hears this muffled sound. She comes walking up real close, real easy. Kind of creaks the door open real quiet, peeks inside, and here's her boss with her husband. She's like, okay. It's real creepy, real quiet. She creaks the door back closed, gets the fuck out of the house. So the next day, they're at lunch, and they're all talking, about, hey, we want to do this again? Redhead and the blonde sitting there, you want to get out of here again? And they're talking. The blonde turns around and says, are you crazy? I almost got caught last night.
And admission of guilt, Doctor?
Certainly not. There's either somebody else in this house or one of us has left his room. Did you hear anything?
Organ music?
That, and someone walking.
You got yours? Ready?
You look downstairs, and I'll look up here.
Why not together?
There may be only minutes, seconds left of someone's life. Why waste time? It's almost over, darling. Every detail was perfect.
What's happening?
We've done it. A perfect crime. Beautiful.
Has she killed him?
Not yet, but she will.
Get me out of this hanging harness. What's taking that girl so long? What time is it?
At first, I couldn't get Nora to want to protect herself with a gun. But after you appeared at the window, everything began to work just as we had planned. You were wonderful. Just the touch that finally drove her into complete hysteria.
It'll be worth all of our planning, darling. Where's Nora now? What's happening?
On her way to the cellar. So scared she'll shoot the first thing that moves.
And Frederick?
On his way to the cellar, too.
David, are you sure none of them will suspect us?
Of what? An hysterical girl accidentally shoots somebody? Who would suspect that we planned it that way, that we drove her to it?
What about my suicide?
But just a ghost party gag. We'll claim it was a dummy since I'm the only one who touched you.
And the caretakers?
Well, they had no idea what they were really doing.
What about Nora? She's not stupid, you know.
Darling, believe me, everything we've planned is working perfectly. Nora is sure Frederick murdered you. She thinks Frederick attacked her in the cellar, not me. And now Nora's almost out of her mind with fear. The heads, the music, you're hanging. I tell you, when Frederick walks in there, she'll shoot him.
It's taking too long. David, you ought to be there.
When you hear the shot, come down to the cellar.
An admission of guilt, Doctor?
Certainly not. There's either somebody else in this house or one of us has left his room. Did you hear anything?
Organ music?
That, and someone walking.
You got yours? Ready?
You look downstairs, and I'll look up here.
Why not together?
There may be only minutes, seconds left of someone's life. Why waste time? It's almost over, darling. Every detail was perfect.
What's happening?
We've done it. A perfect crime. Beautiful.
Has she killed him?
Not yet, but she will.
Get me out of this hanging harness. What's taking that girl so long? What time is it?
At first, I couldn't get Nora to want to protect herself with a gun. But after you appeared at the window, everything began to work just as we had planned. You were wonderful. Just the touch that finally drove her into complete hysteria.
It'll be worth all of our planning, darling. Where's Nora now? What's happening?
On her way to the cellar. So scared she'll shoot the first thing that moves.
And Frederick?
On his way to the cellar, too.
David, are you sure none of them will suspect us?
Of what? An hysterical girl accidentally shoots somebody? Who would suspect that we planned it that way, that we drove her to it?
What about my suicide?
But just a ghost party gag. We'll claim it was a dummy since I'm the only one who touched you.
And the caretakers?
Well, they had no idea what they were really doing.
What about Nora? She's not stupid, you know.
Darling, believe me, everything we've planned is working perfectly. Nora is sure Frederick murdered you. She thinks Frederick attacked her in the cellar, not me. And now Nora's almost out of her mind with fear. The heads, the music, you're hanging. I tell you, when Frederick walks in there, she'll shoot him.
It's taking too long. David, you ought to be there.
When you hear the shot, come down to the cellar.
You know, leave it to rich people to take advantage and just use the poor, you know? I mean, goddamn. I'd like to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not. Not really. However, I do have a theory. See, I've come to the conclusion that, for the most part, rich people and people out there striving to have everything and be better than everybody, well, as far as the men go, I just think they're trying to make up for something they're lacking down below. As far as the gold diggers out there go, yeah, you got your fancy rock on your hand. You got your big house. Well, you think we can't see the stretch marks around your mouth and asshole that put you where you are? Anyway, I'm about done decorating this here. Got a few more touches. So while I finish this up, why don't we get back to the film, see the conclusion, and when you guys come back, we'll have our spider cookie. We'll have our party mix. And unfortunately, we don't have the popcorn balls anymore because I ate those during the last break. They were just too damn good. Well, then again, my beautiful wife did show me there is half of one left. I got hungry, you know? Good movie, good cooking, good food. What the hell you want? All right, guys. So we'll see you back here at the conclusion of the movie. I gotta tell you, I really, really hope that Annabelle and the doctor get exactly what's coming to them. And I really hope that poor Nora, well, I hope she walks away from this without wanting to stick a dagger into the next professor's eye she sees.
No!
David? David?
At last you've got it all. Everything I have. Even my life. But you're not going to live to enjoy it. Come with me, murderess. Come with me. Good night, Doctor. Good night, Annabelle. The crime you two planned was indeed perfect. Only the victim is alive and the murderers are not. It's a pity you didn't know when you started your game of murder that I was playing too.
There must be some way to get in here.
Oh, it's right along here somewhere.
Lance! I've shot Mr. Loren. He's down in the wine cellar.
Alive?
I don't think so. It's him. He's alive.
You didn't shoot anyone, my dear. I loaded your gun with blanks. I can tell you all now. Trent and my wife were planning to kill me. They failed. Trent tried to throw me in the vat. My wife stumbled and fell. I'm ready for justice to decide if I'm innocent or guilty.
Now there are 9. There'll be more, many more. They're coming for me now. And then they'll come for you.
You know, I always did love a happy ending. And to me, there's no happier ending than a cheating, gold-digging bitch getting what her just comeuppance deserve, or her boyfriend, who can't seem to keep his dick in his pants, getting exactly what he deserves. But I do gotta say, the story aside, David Trent, played by the Australian actor Alan Marshall, is one of the greatest actors of his time, and you have to give the man credit. He sucks you in. He makes you really feel that role. He makes you enjoy what he's doing. He makes you believe that he is that character. And it's funny because I've seen interviews with him and off screen, he was one of the most gentle, kindest. He never had a problem. He was the type of guy that no matter how much money he had in the bank, He would stop if somebody saw him and recognized him, and he would talk. He'd sign an autograph. There's not too many celebrities like that, especially not anymore. Not in the last 2 or 3 decades. I'd say the last time we had any actors or actresses that humble would have been actually right around his time, 1963, 1950s. All of a sudden, about the time the Beatles started making airwaves, everybody and their brother who was on TV started thinking they were better. But I digress. A movie is still only as good as its actors. So, asshole or not, if you got a good actor, I guess you got to deal with the prick to entertain the people. Anyway, we are at the end of the show, the end of the movie. I hope everybody had a good night and a good time. I sure as hell had fun. I really enjoyed spending the night with you guys and having some fun watching a movie. Again, I gotta tell you, I ate all the popcorn balls. That little guy right there is about all that's left. And I've got a major stomach ache, so I'm gonna pay for eating all those tomorrow. And we got our little party mix. And that was really good. And our last project for the evening, a spiderweb chocolate chip cookie. My spider chocolate chip cookies. Now what's cool about this, if you notice, I've kind of moved my black light up a little bit. In fact, I kind of like it up front. It's going to stay there from now on. But the lights go out, then you set the cookie down just underneath the light, like so. See how that glows and kind of sparkles out like that? Now imagine you set your table up for your guests. You got a nice thing going for a Halloween party. And you just drop a little black light right over the top. Now imagine all the ahs and oohs coming off. And see what's cool too is, let's get a light back on the situation. This kind of a cookie, it's just one big cookie. I just cooked it into one and then decorated it. But see, doing the web actually has a double cause. See now, when I want to serve the cookie up, cut here, here, and all these different lines around the web. Of course, pull the middle one out or leave it in for decoration until that point when it's ready to serve. But now everybody's getting a spider. Everybody's getting a little bit of the web. And you'll notice I've got some colors in with mine. What I did was I took some colored sugar and just kind of sprinkled it in there to accentuate that web out. And then I took a little bit of red frosting that I'd made for the hair earlier on the popcorn balls. And I threw a little dot there because I have a thing for Black Widows. And being a Vincent Price film, and as I said, Vincent Price did a lot of the narration for a lot of shit. Well, he did the narration for Alice Cooper's The Black Widow in 1972 on Welcome to My Nightmare. Excellent record. I gotta listen. Anybody who's anybody, if you like even the slightest bit of rock and roll, get your hands on that record. Greatest fucking record you will ever hear in your life. I don't care what anybody says. I actually, at one time, had that record on 8-track, vinyl, cassette tape, and the fucking CD. And you know what? If I could have found it, I would have had the thing on high def, too. You know? The guy, I mean, Vincent Price, he did the narration for Michael Jackson's Thriller. Now, let's be honest. I don't even like Michael Jackson. Hearing Vincent Price on that, I couldn't help but dig that song. So, you want to be honest, if it weren't for Vincent Price, I wouldn't have even gotten into Michael Jackson. And here I am now. I'm into Bad and Thriller and... Okay, about those two records. So, you really can't go wrong. Vincent Price will always be one of the late greats. He had several other movies out that I believe I may be able to take advantage of and do this again. We're going to play that by ear. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, so the Monster Peanut Butter Cookies are going to be on hold, and our Ghostly Brownies are going to be on hold. I was going to do them next week, however, depending on how things play out, I think we're going to put that off for maybe another 2 weeks. Because I have something special that I'd actually like to do with that. That would be a lot more fun. So stay tuned next week. And we will sit back, watch another show or another movie, or even have just another polite discussion and have some fun. This is your host, Vincent Victorian, asking, what was the greatest thing before sliced bread? All right, guys. Remember, there's always something cooking in the killer kitchen. See you next week.